All right, welcome back to Statesman.com and another edition of the High School Blitz. I'm Danny Davis. This is Rick Cantu. Rick, week 7's here. Kind of amazing how quickly things have gone by this season. But let's talk about our previews. We're going to start Thursday at House Park, 7:30. One of the best rivalries in town, LBJ McCallum. The winner of this game may end up winning the District 26 5A championship. Who do you think comes out on top?
Well, first of all, this has got to be one of the most evenly matched games I've ever seen. LBJ has scored 150, McCallum has scored 152, and both teams have scored, given up 100 points exactly. But when I look at these two teams, I think the difference is the X factor, DeAndre Witaski, quarterback for LBJ. He's just one of those go-getters. He's a game breaker. Watch out, though, for McCallum. They have a receiver by the name of Mason Bryant. 4 touchdown catches. He averages 20 yards a catch. He's a game breaker if McCallum were to win, but I'm taking LBJ.
We've actually both seen McCallum once this season. They've lost both times that we've seen him. So
we're bad
news, but they've also won 3 times. I'm going with McCallum. They've won 5 of the last 6 games in this series. Their defense has been playing pretty well in district play. 13 points allowed in their 2 games. So I like the Knights. Like you said, Mason Bryant, pretty good. Those 4 touchdowns have come in the last 2 games. So I'll give the edge to the Knights. Let's stick at House Park for our second game. We're going to move to Friday. We got Hayes and Austin High. This game last year decided who the 4th team from District 14 6A was as far as playoff seeding was. Probably going to happen this year. Both teams are contending for that spot. Who do you think is going to win this one?
I'm going to go with Hayes. I like the way Cody Gandy has stepped up in the wake of the injury to their quarterback, Braden Kent. I wouldn't look past Austin High. They've got some pretty good players on their own. Marcelo Mendoza, 6 touchdowns rushing, is one of those under-the-radar kind of players. Everybody knows Bo Kohlbacher has been fantastic at quarterback at times. Evenly matched game. I'm just going to go with Hayes.
I'm going with Austin High. Austin High had a must-win game last week against Aikens, responded with a 28-0 win. Their first shutout since 2010. That defense is going to have to continue playing well. They've let 3 teams top 200 rushing yards, which they cannot allow this week because Cody Gandy is a very good running back. But I think their defense continues rolling. I think they got a momentum boost from this past week against Aikens, and Bo Kohlbacher provides enough offense to get the victory. It was a 35-34 win for Austin High last year. I think they win this one, although I don't expect it to be as high scoring. Let's do some private schools. Regents Hyde Park. It's going to be over at Hyde Park's campus this year, Friday at 7:30. What happens here? I
like the revenge factor here. I think Regents, Regents beat them last year. Hyde Park, they're 4-0, going to be 5-0 after this weekend because they're going to gain the momentum back. They lost last year 35-23. The biggest difference in this game is defense. Regents has just given up way too many points this year, 30 a game, whereas Hyde Park has given up closer to 12 points a game. So I like defense, especially in big rivalry games like this. So go with Hyde Park.
Yeah, Regents is actually 2-3, which is kind of surprising for a Beck Bryden coach team. But I'm going to go with Regents. I think they even their record. Hand Hyde Park, its first loss. Connor Allen's a sophomore. He's rushed for over 100 yards in each of his past 2 games. So I expect him to do well against a pretty good Hyde Park defense. Our game of the week is actually going to be over at Vandergrift's campus. Vista Ridge, Vandergrift, 2 state-ranked teams, 2 teams that are 5-0. These teams have played 5 times before. 4 of those games have been by 8 points or less, including last year's overtime victory for Vista Ridge. Who's going to be 6-0 after this week?
I think 6-0 is going to be Vandergrift. Vandergrift number 4 in the state the last few weeks, and there's a reason for that. His name is Travis Brannon, who is averaging 222 yards rushing, the AP Offensive State Player of the Year last year. He missed 1 game with a minor injury this year, but he's back, and between him and Paxton Sagina, who's got 28 catches and 8 touchdowns, I see a high-scoring, close game victory, Vandergrift.
Yeah, Vista Ridge also has a pretty dynamic duo in quarterback Matt Snow, Isaiah Valaire, their running back. And those 2 players, as well as 2 players you mentioned, all appeared in last year's game. But I think the X factor is going to be a guy who was a wide receiver in last year's game, Alex Fernandez. He's now Vandergrift's quarterback, has 18 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions, has been spectacular for them, taking over for Jamie Hudson. I think he continues his great season, and I think Vandergrift's going to squeak out another win. Although, like I said, these games are usually close. If you're going to go to a game, go to this one because you're going to get your money's worth. But I think Vandergrift edges Vista Ridge this week. So those are our picks. Be sure to check out statesman.com throughout the weekend to see how we did, and we'll see you next week.